Okay, welcome to our Syracuse University mock draft, where we're going to select teams from players who played in Jim Boeheim's head coaching tenure, which dates back 44 years now. So we got a lot of players to select from. And we've got an incredible panel of celebrity guest drafters who are going to be drafting their teams. And it's an amazing group. First of all, right off the top, I thank all of you for joining in on the fun here today. We'll kind of go around the checkerboard square here. In the upper left, we have Eric Devendorf, former SU basketball player. We established before we came on 208 made three-pointers in his career, over 1,600 career points. Unbelievable number. Eric, how are you?
I'm good. Appreciate you having me on.
Good. Okay, we move over to the upper right, and it's Brittney Sykes, who played at SU on the women's team from 2012 to 2017, a key member of the 2016 team that went to the national championship game. And Eric, I'm sorry to tell you, Brittney's got you beat, over 1,800 career points.
I'm good with that. Trust me, I'm good with that.
I mean, I got to give some credit to Devendorf. He helped me out of plenty of those summers, and working out and getting those buckets during those seasons to get those 1,800. So, to each his own.
We drop down to the bottom left, and it's Beth Mowins, a native of Syracuse, New York, played ball at Lafayette College and then came back home to get her master's degree from Syracuse University. She's a past winner of the Glickman Award, Marty Glickman Award, one of the highest honors the university will hand out from the Newhouse School. Yeah, there you go. And just a pioneer in her industry. Beth, I just looked this up yesterday. The first woman to do play-by-play on an NFL television broadcast. That's amazing.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Pleasure to be here. It's great not only to be a grad, but to be a hometown kid as well. So Syracuse Hoops has always been near and dear to my heart.
We move over to the center square on the bottom level, and Sean McDonough, one of the most acclaimed broadcasters to come out of SU's Newhouse School of Communications. Boy, you've broadcast everything. Another winner of the Marty Glickman Award and a WAER Hall of Famer. How you doing, Sean?
I'm doing well. Obviously, Devendorf didn't pass the ball enough would be what I've taken out of this so far.
And we move to our last guest in the bottom right, the legendary Dave Bing. Most people would say, a lot of people, maybe a little bit argument from some Carmelo Anthony fans, but the greatest player ever to play at Syracuse University, scored over 1,800 points in just 3 years on the varsity. And as a senior, averaged 28.4 points per game. That's just an amazing number. Dave, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Mike. It's really my pleasure. And Brittney, this is my first time seeing you. So good luck to you as you continue your career.
Thank you.
Eric, I've known. He's another Michigan guy. So I remember him very well from high school. And good guy. Sean, good to see you also.
Thank you, Dave. I would just echo what Mike said. A couple of years ago, Pat Williams, the former GM of the Orlando Magic, wrote a book. It was a book of lists. And he asked me to write a top 10 of the greatest NBA players to come out of Syracuse. And you were such an easy choice for number one. And no disrespect to anybody else who we're going to pick or all the other great players at Syracuse. You're the greatest player in the history of Syracuse basketball by far. And I think as all of us love the university as we do, more importantly than that, the university's never had a better ambassador than you two, with your grace and class and intelligence. So an honor anytime we are able to participate in anything with you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Beth, I didn't overlook you. I'm glad. I've never met you, but I've heard a lot of good things, and one day hopefully we'll meet.
Don't worry, Dave. She put all of her accolades behind her up there anyway, so you didn't
I'm speechless that McDonough would have the zeal to try and trade up to the number one pick with you, Dave. So as much as we appreciate your resume, don't see through the snowflakes falling outside your house right now with McDonough.
I got it. Thank you.
I originally was not supposed to be a part of this. I'm a last-minute fill-in for Mike Tirico. And the last time I replaced Mike Tirico on something, it didn't go all that well. So I'm hoping that we have more success here today.
I think this, first of all, Tirico would rather be here, and we all know it. He's on a call trying to run the university right now. So good for him. But we all know we're going to have more fun here than what he's doing.
Well, he had the whole thing laid out. I mean, he prepared for this for 3 days. So he was ready to go. I'm just going to continue to flip coins as we go along here, because one thing I think we could all agree on as we prepared for this, and we all did prepare, we were chatting before we came on, is it just reinforces how many outstanding players there have been at Syracuse. There are going to be some hard choices for all of us because you're choosing from one quality player over another.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, let's get to it. First of all, to explain to everybody out there, we've got the three celebrities here who are going to be doing the drafting. They're going to be required to draft 2 guards, 2 forwards, a center, and a 5th man, and a 6th man. 5th man, let's hope so. And a 6th man. So we're going to have 6 rounds in the draft. We'll do it in an S-curve fashion. So whoever drafts first in the first round will draft last in the second round, and so on through the other rounds of the draft. Everybody's kind of got their picks. We've already established a draft order. We're going to go with the number 1 overall pick. It's going to go to Dave Bing. Brittney Sykes is going to pick 2nd. Eric Devendorf is 3rd. Beth Mowins 4th. And Sean McDonough 5th. And, of course, then that means Sean McDonough gets the first pick of the 2nd round as we go in reverse order. So I guess without any more ado, we can turn it over to Dave Bing, who is officially on the clock with the first round in our mock draft.
I'm going to make mine pretty easy. Young man that I met when he was 13 years old, and kind of mentored him and directed him to go to Syracuse. And he had a great career, 4 years. Became the number 1 draft choice by the New Jersey Nets. So I'm going to take my first pick with Derek Coleman.
Oh, from the heart. Woo.
Derek Coleman goes off the board.
I knew it. I already crossed my mind. I knew it. I knew it, Dave.
When you started saying that you had known him since he was 13 years old and from Michigan, Devendorf, I think, thought you were going to pick him from
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Well, I know. Right. I don't even know if I was born yet, Sean. So.
I didn't know whether Eric was going to be thrilled to go number 1 or upset that he was not going to get a chance to draft himself.
Oh, I still have a chance. I'm gonna be up there.
Well, that's an interesting pick, and the person it probably affects most is Brittney Sykes.
No, it doesn't affect me.
Oh.
It doesn't. I mean, I need some time. How much time do I have on the clock?
Oh, I don't know, about 30 seconds.
All right, 30 seconds.
This isn't the NFL.
All right. Man. Let's see. You know what? I'm just gonna go with my gut. All right, my first pick happens to be in the room with us. I'm a big fan of him. I don't know if he knows it or not, but I'm going to go with the Eric Devendorf because I believe that I can build a nice team around him. And I had to steal him away from himself, but I do believe that I can build a nice team. I need a scorer like him. I can get some defense out of him, and I'm not too big on offense. I'm looking from a defensive perspective, so I'm going to go with that one.
Oh, B, man, listen, I feel real good right now, I'll tell you the truth. I feel very good. Very good. I'm off the board. I don't got to worry about taking myself. We good.
There will be questions.
Okay. There will be questions, but don't question my competitiveness. I'm going to get out there and go at it. Trust me, Mike. We know this.
I need someone who's going to fight the final 2 minutes, okay? And I know I'm going to get that out of E. I know I'm going to get it out of you.
Oh, look,
I
B,
think,
we went at it in the summers, so she knows. If anyone knows, she knows. She's been behind those closed doors. She's seen it.
I would think Eric would also be very happy because not only does he not have to worry about picking himself, but this leaves him with, I think, I had already written down who I thought Brittney was going to pick with with this next pick, but it's Eric's pick, right, Mike?
It is Eric Devendorf's pick. And I don't know who's going off the board at this point.
Okay.
This is a major turn of events here.
And okay, look, I might not be the best player in your guys' mind, but I like to start my team off with the general, the point guard. And that for me, that's gonna be Pearl. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I got to start out with that leader. and that's my quarterback, Pearl Washington. I appreciate you guys letting me have him too.
I can't believe this guy has fallen into my lap. I hardly wrote anything down because I thought for sure he was going to be gone. But with the 4th overall selection in the draft, the Dome Foamers are going to select Carmelo Anthony, national champion from 2003. That 33-point semifinal performance against Texas. The fact that he averaged a double-double and is the greatest one and done in the history of college basketball. Carmelo Anthony off the board.
There's the name. I've been waiting, and I mean, his name's on the building up there, right? The practice facility.
Yeah. Hey, everybody has a different strategy. I'm not saying Melo's not the best player, but I'm gonna beat his team. Here we go.
Woohoo!
And you'll be able to tell your kids and grandkids, Eric, that I got drafted ahead of Carmelo Anthony.
There you go. There you go.
All right. I was hoping you were going to whiff on that too, Beth, and then somehow we would have had Carmelo with the 5th pick. I agree with what Eric said. So with the first of my 2 picks, you need the general, and I'm going to take Sherman Douglas.
Breaking my heart.
Yep.
As well as because we're from the same high school.
And then, there's already been some really good forwards off the board here. I'm going to grab one now with Billy Owens.
Oh,
That's tough right there. That's a good one.
those were going to be my 2.
I mean, if you look at his numbers in 3 years, if he played 4 years,
Goodness.
he'd get a lot more attention. And I know we're not supposed to factor in what they did as a pro too, but I think he showed how good he was in the NBA and had a distinguished career. So
Okay.
those would be my 2 picks at 5 and 6.
Well, you're right about Billy Owens in his 3 years. He still ranks 12th in points and 9th in rebounds in school history, despite playing just 3 seasons here. So,
Wow. All right. Yeah. Well, you know what? I love the winners. I love the championship mentality. So as the draft comes back around with the 7th overall pick in the draft, I got to go with Jerry McNamara.
Oof.
Not only the most prolific 3-point shooter, not only a national champ and a Big East champ, but as we all know, free throws are a bit of an issue in Syracuse basketball history. So I'm taking the best free throw shooter, and perhaps best of all, on the receiving end of the greatest Jim Boeheim rant in the history of college basketball.
Absolutely.
At the Big East tournament, I think you all know we would not have won 10 games without him, and you can add your own
Right.
bomb in there if you'd like. Jerry McNamara.
Beth Mowins reconstructing the 2003 national championship team.
I don't know if the shot blocker will still be there when it swings around. We'll see.
Okay, is it my turn?
Eric, you are on the board, on the clock now with the 8th overall pick.
Let me boast my front court up a little bit. One of the greatest forwards to ever come out of Syracuse, and I think played 9 years in the league. I'm gonna pick John Wallace.
Great pick.
Yep.
Great pick.
John Wallace. Yeah, now I got Pearl and J-Dub. I think I might have won already.
His shot against Georgia in the tournament, one of the best ever.
Absolutely, no question. It's my good friend, so absolutely.
I mean, he's only third in school history in scoring and third in rebounding.
Mm-hmm.
And you got him 8th overall.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I just weighed that, to me, the choice was Owens or him where I was picking. And again, I'd say what I said about, I think if Owens had played another year, you'd be saying similar kind of numbers about him, if not that. But great pick and a great guy. One of those guys who John shows up in a lot of charity things around central New York, Western New York, and loves SU.
And we're back around with the number 9 overall pick to Brittney.
All right. The number 9th pick, I mentioned him earlier, and I have to get him off the board. Got me worried, Eric, but I'm going to take Jeremy Grant.
Jeremy Grant.
What do we list him as, Mike? What position?
Jeremy's a forward.
He's a forward, yeah. Long, lanky. I got a shot blocker. Nice dump off passes. Easy 2 points that adds up to 10 at the end of the game.
Okay, I like the strategy. She's going a different route. I'm not mad.
You see where I'm going, E?
Yeah, I see it.
Not really. No.
Well, you have to think, Sean. I'm thinking of players that I personally watched as well. I could go back and I can look at the stats, but then, it doesn't make it, too fun because you guys are all doing that. So now I just go from my era and, I get the young guys and get a nice little running gun team. So.
Gotcha, Sean. Gotcha.
I just think, in the true Jim Boeheim model of scheduling, my team would be looking to schedule Brittney's team right now.
Oh, man. You guys looking for a little okay, I like it.
Oh, none taken, Sean. But when we get on the court, we fighting.
Okay? I know that.
Well, he had the first overall pick, and now he gets the 10th pick, the last pick here in the second round, Dave Bing.
I went for the big guy who can rebound and who can scare people. Guy that came to play hard every night, guy that you could depend on. Now I've got to match him up with somebody in the backcourt. So I'm going to take Johnny Flynn.
Oh, that's a good pick. Oh, that's tough. Ooh, that's a good one.
I like it.
Dave Flynn.
All right.
Oh, man.
And now you get to turn around and pick again.
I'm going to stay in the backcourt. These guys control a game. And Johnny is a little on the smaller side, so I'm going to go with a little bigger, more physical guard. And I'm going to take Dion Waiters.
I like that.
He's physical. He was tough. He comes to play. I really like him. It's too bad he left early because I think he would have had, he'd go down as one of the better players at Syracuse also. Dion Waiters.
That's a good one.
That was a good one. Oh, gosh.
With Derek Coleman and Dion Waiters in that locker room, that is some big personalities.
Oh, yeah.
Brittney, we're back to you with the 12th pick.
Yes. Okay. So I think I can. I'm trying to find a guy that can get it to my post players. Trying to find a guy who can come off a pick and roll and be smart, make the decisions, be a scoring threat, but also get it to my guy E. Devendorf on the wing when I need a bucket.
Ooh.
So
you're speaking my language, B.
I'm speaking your language. Okay. I hope this pick makes you happy on the court. I'm gonna go with Tyler Ennis.
Tyler Ennis.
Smooth guy, doesn't get rattled, can make a big shot, it's not scared of a big moment, and he'll make the right play. So I can trust my guy to get the ball to who he needs to get it to and put some pressure on the defense. And he's a long guy, so he can be up front on the zone.
I like that.
Thank you, my sir.
He's filled her backcourt just 3 rounds in. Eric, that means we're back to you with the 13th overall pick.
Okay, again, so I'm strategic with mine. You know, I need a shooter. I need a guy who can play at the top of the zone, who's active, long, could get some steals. And we talked about him earlier. I'm going to go with Andy Routins at the 2. And again, he's very underrated. He's a knockdown shooter, but he's super smart, and he was real good at the top of the zone, being able to read the defense, keep the ball out of the high post. So I think that's a good pick for me.
Man, that's a good pick.
Andy had the 3-pointer at the end of the 3rd overtime against Connecticut that sent it to the 4th.
Yeah, he kept getting better as the years went on. He was, he improved like immensely as his career went on.
All right. Well, I do have an opportunity to keep the 2003 team intact, but I think I'm going to go in a different direction here. I thought the centers were going to be like the kickers in this draft, and they may tumble down to the bottom. But since this guy's available, one of the best moments of my Syracuse fandom as a youngster was when Syracuse beat North Carolina down in the Meadowlands in the Elite Eight to go to Boeheim's first Final Four in 1987. And they were led that day by none other than Ronnie Sykes, who had the game of his life and was a part of what I think was one of the great Syracuse teams of all time. So I got a guard, I got a forward, and now I got my center. I'm going with Ronnie Sykes as my pick there. He is one of the few that has his jersey retired with over 1,000 points, 1,000 rebounds, and 300 blocks. He'll do a little bit of everything for me in the middle of that zone.
It's a good pick. Good pick.
Very good pick.
Wow. Okay, that just made my year right there, Dave Bing. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. I have 2 picks, I believe, Mike.
You do, back to back.
Yeah. Well, I have Sherman Douglas to run my team, so we're going to give him a score in the backcourt with him, and I'm going to take the all-time leading scorer in the history of the university, Lawrence Moten.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ooh, yeah.
Get me some points.
And
then I think Beth just alluded to it. There's still a lot of really good forwards, but I think I'm going to add some versatility to my team too. A guy who can help us on in every aspect of the game, and take Hakeem Warwick.
Ooh, I like that pick. Yeah, that was a good one.
Hakeem Warwick.
Sean's team's starting to look good.
Yeah. When the unofficial top 20 picks in the draft, they were ranked in order. The top 10 is all gone. So I'm going to take the guy who's number 11 on my list right here and add, I think you could make the case that this may have been the most popular player in Syracuse history, and certainly the greatest smile to ever don the Carrier Dome court in one Stevie Thompson.
I was gonna say I was already picked, Beth, but that's.
You were a close second, Eric.
Now, Beth, with Stevie, I'll allow you to slot him in as either a guard or a forward, since he really played both.
Okay. Point of order. I think. Okay. Do I need to decide right now?
No.
Okay.
That'll
okay, who is it? Is it my turn?
Eric, if you're up the 18th overall pick.
All right, let me get my big guy in the middle to anchor that defense. Probably, one of the best defenders who came through at Syracuse, holding down that middle, blocking shots, could move. And then on the other end, if you get it, he's going up and dunking it. He's getting putbacks, and that's Fab Melo.
Fab Melo.
For a minute, they were describing somebody else, but.
Well, I think Fab was Defensive Player of the Year in the Big East one year, wasn't he?
Yeah, first round.
Yeah, absolutely. He was one of the better defenders in the middle of the zone for sure.
Brittney, it's to you.
I'm on the clock. All right. Well, since we're still going from what I know of my era, I'm gonna get my big guy out of there. You made me nervous a little bit there, Eric. So I'm gonna go with my guy Raheem Christmas. He guarded the fort. Yeah, he guarded the fort.
Okay, Raheem Christmas at center fills the middle for Brittney.
Brittney, your team is definitely going to have the freshest legs. There's no doubt about that.
Oh, you got to catch us. You got to catch us to beat us.
Yeah.
You got to catch us to beat us.
Eric, you're the oldest guy on her team.
There you go. Hey, look.
That's all I need. I just need
too.
one. I don't think you're old, though. I don't think you're old. I don't think you're old.
Nah, I'm not old. I got a little bit left. We're going to see in the TBT this summer.
And we conclude the 4th round with the 20th overall pick, which is Dave Bings.
I want to look at, I got a good, strong inside guy. I think I've got the best backcourt. So it's time for me to look at a real strong wing player, somebody who is a good athlete, who can run the floor, who long enough that he'll be good in the zone defense. And he is a very steady outside shooter. I'm going to go with Wes Johnson.
Dave, you took him from me, Dave.
That's a good
great pick. That's a good pick. Super versatile.
2010. Was he I don't know if he was the Big East Player of the Year or not. I think he was.
Yeah, he was. All-American.
I think he's the last first-team All-American to play at Syracuse.
Yeah.
That may be one of the most disappointing under-the-radar moments in Syracuse history. When Onuaku got hurt in the Big East tournament, that team was on a roll. 30-win season. That was tough to take. I remember that one. That was a really good club with Routins and Trish and West. You had Scoop and Joseph coming off the bench.
Yeah, there's some talent there.
Good pick.
Absolutely. Number
Thank
one team
you.
in the country, number one. They were a number 1 seed.
Yeah.
So as we get ready to start the 5th round, it'll be Dave Bing's pick again at number 21. But let's reset who Dave Bing currently has. In the backcourt, he's got Johnny Flynn and Dion Waiters. At the forward spots, he's got Derek Coleman and Wes Johnson, which means he needs a center, but he also has that 6th man option. So he doesn't have to take the center now, but it's up to him. Dave, it's to you.
Okay. In order to round out my team, I will go with one of the big guys, one of the horses that's going to be important. I'm going to go with Eton Thomas as my center.
The all-time leader in block shots.
Yep.
Okay. Brittney's up. And to reset her roster for everybody viewing this, she's got a backcourt of Eric Devendorf and Tyler Ennis. She's got the high-flying rocket man Jeremy Grant at forward. Raheem Christmas at center. So she needs a forward, but she also has that 6th man option.
I'm going to reveal my 6th man when, the 6th round comes. I'm going to finish out my forwards with a long, lanky kid. We shared the likeness in the number 20. He's a stretch 4. He can hit a shot. He can block shots. And he can add to my defensive, zone. And I think, you're nodding at it. You know who I'm going to say, huh, Eric?
Yeah.
T. Lydon. I need T. Lydon off the board.
Tyler Lydon.
All right.
Youth prevails.
Mm-hmm.
But then, I have you now, you can teach them, the grand scheme of things. And now we're a well-oiled machine that has to be caught.
That's all you need, B. I'm gonna hold it down. Trust me.
I appreciate you.
A key guy coming off the bench as a freshman on the 2016 Final Four team.
Yes.
Indeed.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay, so from Brittney, we go to Devendorf.
Okay.
Eric, to reset
All right.
your roster for you and everybody else, you've got Pearl Washington and Andy Routens at guard, John Wallace at forward, Fab Mello at center. So you have the forward spot open, and you also have that sixth-man option.
Let me. I'm gonna take a forward. I love shooters, man. I love guys who can shoot the ball, but also this guy. He was a great defender on the wing as well. Long, lanky. Senior year, he was the Big East Player of the Year, I believe, and that's Demetrius Nichols.
I knew it.
D. Nick, long out there, super underrated. I think his junior and senior year, he was another guy that progressed as his career went along. So yeah, I'm happy with that one.
Mike, we have an announcement from the Carmelo Anthony Center. Stephen Thompson, you can slot into the forward position.
Okay. All right, so before you make your pick, we'll see who's coming here. But before you make your pick then, to reset, you have a guard, Jerry McNamara. Forwards, Carmelo Anthony and Stevie Thompson. Ronnie Cycli at center. So you have a guard spot open and the sixth-man too.
All right. Well, my parents raised a point guard, so that's the direction I'm going to go with. So I got 2 quality ball handlers, 2 quality free throw shooters, and one of the best distributors and the best thief in the history of Syracuse basketball. He's a member of the all-century team. Welcome to the club, Jason Hart. Jason Hart.
It's a great pick.
I think one of the more underrated Orange of all time.
12 years in the league.
Yes.
Yeah.
And school's all-time leader in steals, as you alluded to.
By the way, I got a yup from Mr. Bing on that one. So again.
Yes, you did.
It just keeps getting better and better.
And we're going to conclude the 5th round. We're going to go to Sean. And Sean's lineup roster currently has Sherman Douglas and Lawrence Moten in the backcourt, Billy Owens and Hakeem Warwick at forward. So he's looking for a center and a sixth man.
Yeah. I think it goes to what we were saying at the beginning. First of all, I agree with Beth. I thought, the centers there were fewer to choose from, but we also needed one. So, and I thought there were, 5 or 6 that you'd be happy with. But I can't believe that this guy is still here because he's one of the great players in the history of the university.
Missed him, man.
Roosevelt Bowie.
Yeah.
Roosevelt
Another
is
one.
going to be my center.
Now, Sean, do you have to take Louis with Bowie? Is that a given, or are you going to break them
I
up?
don't kind of want to give too much of my thought process away, but we're all friends here, right? So the sixth man thing, it's you just go for the best player, because there's so many good players who are still left, and that goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning. I think you can't miss on this pick because there are so many good players. There's another guy on the center list who I think should be picked before we're done. I have a little bias toward him because can I just tell you who I'm considering? Is that a fun part of the next?
Absolutely.
Because this is your names. This rounds out your team. So if you want to throw a bunch of names out there and mess with everybody's minds.
Well, I mean, for example, Danny Shays, he's there listed as a center. I mean, he's a great player. He could be a sixth man, but I'm wondering about if sixth man, do you want versatility? A guy can help you. Somebody needs to pick Lewis, or like Beth said, I could go with Louis and Bowie and a great player. In my opinion, I'm not trying to emphasize anybody else's picks, but I'm going to go with a guy who really could do it all and was a classmate of mine, as a dear friend. And also, I think, getting the better of the two Routens. I'm going to pick Leo Routens.
Oh, that's a good one.
Scorer, rebounder, great team player. Probably not better than Lewis Orr, but I'm going to go keep it in the family here. I'm going for Leo Routens.
All right.
That's a good pick.
That's a real interesting pick for a sixth man, because you get a guy who scored 1,000 points in just 3 years at SU. He also led his team in rebounding once and assists twice.
That's why I made the pick. You're looking for somebody who can help you in a lot of different ways, and a good guy in the locker room too. So that's my team. But I'm going to kick myself. Danny Shays, Lewis Orr, in my opinion. That might be the wrong pick, but I'm going to give a nod to took a lot of classes with Leo. He was a broadcast journalism major, I believe, and political science minor like me or something like that. So we had a lot of classes together. He's a great guy, dear friend.
And if we follow him on Twitter, I'm sure he'll include this afternoon at his Twine and Wine at 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to disparage Andy Routens, because I agree with what Eric said before we came on here. Andy was a terrific player. I think very underappreciated, although he was more appreciated as his career went along. But also, like his dad, a great person too. So I think they're equally great.
Yeah.
All right.
Beth, it's your final pick, Beth, and you basically have carte blanche. You have a 6-man open.
I like the carte blanche. So on my unofficial list, under consideration, Raphael Addison, Preston Schumpert is on the list. Another good old-timer, Eric Sanifer, under consideration. But as I look at these other rosters, I realize I need some instant offense. And I am ready to argue that this is the greatest athlete in the history of Syracuse basketball, and was so impressed with the improvements that he made from start to finish. Nearly 20 points per game his final 2 seasons. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Dave Johnson.
Oh, okay.
Instant offense, athleticism off the bench.
You're right. Over between 19 and 20 points his junior and senior seasons. Okay, Eric, you get your last pick.
Okay. Again, I'm for my 6-man, and I mean, this guy can rotate in and out of the starting lineup with my guys that I have, but I want instant offense. I want a guy who has that clutch gene, and a guy you can just give him the ball and tell him to go ahead, and that's Tyus Battle.
Ah, man.
I think he's a guy who early in his career, he learned and he got better, but he brought the ball up. He against Michigan State, I was on staff, and he had some big shots and some big games, some big moments. So I just think he'd be a good guy to have instant offense, and then like I said, he has that clutch gene as well.
1,600 points or a little more than that in just 3 years. If he comes back for his senior year, he makes a serious run at Lawrence Moten's record.
Absolutely.
And you also took away a pick from Brittney, because I heard her.
Man,
as you said.
Man, it hurt my heart. That hurt my heart. He was one of my 3 for my final 6-man, and he was gonna go. If Eric didn't get to him, I would have got to him. All right.
It is your turn, though.
My 6-man,
round
yes.
out your club.
Well, it was going to be between Tyus. I have Chris Joe, and instead of picking Chris Joe, I want to pick MC Dub as my 6-man. Because I really want to. I mean, Chris Joe can move, and he can round out those forwards for me. But I feel like I can trust Mike on the top and on the bottom of the zone because of his length. He can go to the point guard position. He can give Tyler a break, and then Tyler can stay at the 1, and then I can give Eric and Mike some run on the wing to go off on pick and rolls. And you have Jeremy, who's a high-flying dunker, get those boards for me, and Rakeem can hold the fort down in the middle. And so could Tyler, as he proved it in one of his seasons at Q. So I have some versatility there in my group. And, my slogan, thanks to Beth, you got to catch us to win. So.
Michael Carter-Williams, basically one of the leaders on the 2013 Final Four team. I think he had more assists that season than any Syracuse player has ever had, not named Sherman Douglas.
It's a good pick. I was thinking about going with Elijah too. I mean, I like Elijah, man. He's a guy. He's instant offense too.
Yeah.
All right. The last pick on our draft will go to the man who had the first pick on our draft, Dave Bing.
Okay. I was an offensive player, so I enjoy watching guys who can score a ball. And as I look at that first 5 that I've got, there's one other guy that I watched his career, and I was really impressed with his ability to go outside and shoot the ball, which will open things up for my inside guys, but also allow my guards who can penetrate to throw back out on the wing. This guy could shoot the lights out, and I'm going to take Preston Shumpert.
Yeah.
Hey, you're going to have the other team yelling, shooter, shooter, shooter when he checks in.
He could shoot the ball.
And Mike, I think it goes to what we were just saying about how many great players there have been just in Coach Boeheim's era. I shouldn't say just, because it's like 58 years now that he's been the head coach or something like that. But I mean, with people like the names that we named, Danny Shays, he had a terrific career in the NBA for a long time. Louis Orr, I mean, he didn't get picked. Beth mentioned Raphael Addison, who was kind of in my era, and Eric Sandifer. And there's so many other names on the list that didn't get picked. It's really says a lot about the quality and depth of talent over all these years. So many people who brought us so many wonderful moments didn't get picked.
I agree. CJ Fair.
Right.
Brittney mentioned Chris Joseph.
Yeah.
Raph Addison, you mentioned. Red Autry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was on my
Had
list.
an amazing career.
Yeah.
Yeah, how about
Dante
Dale
Green.
Shumpert from back in the day? And
Yeah,
Mark
yeah.
Burns.
Yep.
You
There's a
put
lot of
together
guys.
some names for us too. Gene Waldron, who was a terrific player. We could read this whole list, and any of them really could have gotten drafted. But I think we made a lot of good picks. I am worried about playing Brittney's team because I don't know now if Roosevelt Bowie will move up and down the court quite like he used to.
I mean, you gotta think about it. You have to think
He's a
about it.
gamer. It's the old joke about somebody asked, if Ted Williams played today, what would he hit? And somebody said, well, he hit 280. He's like, 280? Yeah, but he'd be, 94 years old. So, I mean, anyway.
No. Again, I tried to pick who I thought. I mean, they may not have been the best player on the board, but I just tried to who I thought would be best offsetting each other and who would gel and mesh together. So I like my squad. We going far.
I'll give the local guy shout out too. You talked a little bit about Danny Shays, but it really meant a lot. Like he was the first guy locally, that was a huge star, could have gone anywhere, and he chose Syracuse, kind of like Tim Green on the football side. But you had Trish, father and son, Lazarus Sims on that Final Four team in '96, and Matt Rowe, who, by the way, had the best percentage-wise three-point shooting season ever. Another local guy that made a splash on the Carrier Dome floor.
Well, I think one of the things I liked about this exercise too was that, we did try to make it a team rather than just pick the best player. I think we all talked about not only do we think this is a great player, but here's how he will impact our team and blend in with everybody else. And as I look at all 5 of the teams, I think everybody did a good job of that kind of balance.
For sure.
And you
Can
guys
we address the surprises of the first round, Mike? Stunning developments right out of the gate.
The pundits are going to be talking about the first round for a long time.
For sure.
Carmelo Anthony falling all the way to number 4.
Number 4.
I think Eric Devendorf should have picked Brittney just to kind of return the respect.
Yeah.
Hey, I tell you this, y'all. I saw Brittney come in her first year being a McDonald's All-American at Syracuse, and I was there all the way until, she, when she got hurt. So I mean, me and B are pretty close. I mean, not saying that that's what it is, but I mean,
we
I've
shared
known
some
B for a
time.
while. Yeah, for sure.
There's a lot to be said for friendship, and you know, a lot of my picks were guys kind of from my era who are friends, and but I also think they're great players too. And
Absolutely.
yeah, I'm just curious, Mike. I don't know if we need to wrap this up, and we probably do. If we need to recap what we picked, I think you did as we were going along. But I would be curious to ask the other people, if you don't think your team is the best one, which of the others do you think is the best team?
That's a great question.
I think Dave.
Yeah, I was going to say Dave.
Yeah. You know, I was at a disadvantage because you start talking about the eras that I played in. I mean, I didn't know many of these guys. I watched them from afar, but a lot of you had the advantage of seeing them much more than I did. And so, you know, it was tough for me to sit back and try and pick some of these guys that I only saw play, you know, a handful of times. But the team that I picked, I mean, I'm surprised. For me, I put the top 3 players on this list for Boeheim would have been Carmelo, Derek, and Pearl. And so when that didn't happen the way I thought it would, then you looked at, you know, John Wallace, you know, he was a hell of a player, and Billy. So to me, those were the top 5 that I thought were going to go. But I think this exercise is great. I think Boeheim has put together an unbelievable amount of talent that we had to choose from. But I surely will pick my team against anybody else's right now. I think we have an outstanding mix of both talent and skills. So I think we've done a nice job in picking that team.
I'm going to say this and record it because I'm going to say I agree with Dave Bing on this. I thought the top 3 were going to go Carmelo, Derek, and Pearl. This was actually a bit of a ruse, and that's why I'm going to say I would be playing Sean in the finals, because I thought my first 2 picks were going to be Sherm Douglas and Billy Owens. And so obviously when Carmelo became available, things had to change rapidly. So that was the direction I went in. But Sherman is my guy, and that's going to be a heartbreaker. But I really like my club, and we'll figure out a way to beat them. Take the oop away from them.
I would
return the compliment to Beth. It's a compliment, but yeah, I think we benefited from the surprise with the second pick, and again, Eric Devendorf was an outstanding player, and is a wonderful guy too. It's been really a treat to become Eric's friend over the years. We actually played a little golf one time in Mr. Happy Coach's tournament down at Turning Stone, and had a great day out there. But I think Beth getting Carmelo Anthony with the 4th pick, to me, he was 1 or 2. I mean, to me, it was DC and Carmelo, one or the other. We talked about the centers. To me, the centers were either Cycley or Bowie. I like the reasons why people explain why they picked Etan Thomas and Fab Nolan. But, you know, you can make the argument Ronnie Cycley was the best center, you know, in terms of scoring and rebounding. She has the best 3-point shooter in the history of our school. Stevie Thompson and Jason Harper do-it-all guys. I didn't like her 6th person pick. You know, to me, Louis Orr would have been a much better pick there, or Danny Shays or people like that. But I understand the expectation. And maybe I'm showing my age. You know, Brittney has her recency bias, and I probably have my I'm going to be 58 years old next week bias. So I tend to lean. And Louis Orr actually even played before me, and before I got to Syracuse. And you just talk about another, to me, like Dave Bing, one of the great ambassadors, as we all know, in the history. It still kind of bugs me now that he's at Georgetown. But actually, it bugs me a lot. But just an elegant, classy, wonderful guy. But I think Beth's team is terrific, and they're all good.
And 2, look, I think that, like, a lot of times, and we've seen this over the years, like, the teams, like, not the best teams win the games, right? It's not, you know, it might not be the team that has the best player. So Melo, for sure, that he's the best player. But how I wanted to kind of start building my team was with the point guard. You know, that's the quarterback. That's the guy who runs the team. He's going to get everybody together. And then I thought Pearl was, you know, if Pearl wasn't there, I was going to take Johnny. But I think Pearl is a guy who, when things get close and you get into crunch time, he's going to get everybody together. And then I got all the pieces around. I got shooters. I got defenders. So I think I'm winning, Sean. I'm winning it.
I think it's a very good team.
I keep looking at Sean's team, that backcourt with Syracuse's all-time leading scorer in Lawrence Moten and Sherman Douglas, who's still the school's all-time leading assist guy. And when he graduated, he was the NCAA's career assist leader. I mean, that's a strong backcourt.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with Roosevelt Bowie, Billy Owens, and Hakeem Warwick in the front court. I think, I just, and it's again what we're talking about. Sherm runs the show. Moten's a great compliment to him. Bowie, just a force inside. Versatility with Hakeem and Billy Owens around the basket, away from the basket. Leo Routens can do it all off the bench. No disrespect to any of these other teams, but I think I have the best team. And I'm glad I ignored all of Tarico's suggestions.
In real life, Billy Owens found a way to score while playing with Sherman, Derek, and Stevie Thompson. I think he'll find a way to score with your guys too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I would want Eric Devendorf on my coaching staff. I want to say that he's a rising star.
Here's my Devendorf stat, by the way. When you look at the best three-point shooters in history, Eric has the best percentage, better than GMAC, Routens, Shumpert, and Moten. So 38% for his career. The experts estimate that Dave Bing would have been a shade above that had he had the line at a smidgen over 40.
And if Boeheim passed him the ball every now and then.
Dave's got that one.
I always going to the hoop. I had a couple of good big men when I played, and they had good hands, and they could at least catch the ball and make the layup. So Chuck Richards was a guy that I played with, and at 6'8", 6'9", he averaged 20 points, over 20 points a game, and the two of us in the same year. Probably, I don't think anybody else in Syracuse history had two guys that averaged over 20 points on the same team.
And to amplify what Beth said, Eric Devendorf also made the most famous three-point shot that didn't count in Syracuse history in the 6 overtime game. And we're very, I think we're all delighted that it didn't count because it gave us the 6 overtime classic. That game never would have happened. And, that's not only one of the great games in Syracuse basketball history, it's one of the great games in the history of college basketball.
Which courtside table were you dancing on, Eric? Did you seek out McDonough's table? And what was that scene like from your vantage point, Sean?
It was away from the bench.
Yeah, he was just to the right of us. Yeah. And, I remember the great shot. Peter Dingle was our center court, camera guy right on the court. And he had the perfect shot. You could just see the ball still on Eric's fingertips, and you saw the shot clock above the basket, just barely going to zero. So I think the ESPN outstanding crew we had that night had a lot to do with it too, because originally they counted the basket. So if the replay wasn't clear, they would have counted it. So they waved it off, and we had a classic game. And Eric can always say he was a big part of one of the great games in the history of college basketball.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Eric jumped on the table. It would have been to Sean's right, and it was right in front of me. We always had the second row at the Big East tournament. So Eric jumps up on the table, like directly in front of myself and Donna DeTota, and we were looking straight at him. He's looking up at the blue seats at the Garden.
I don't know where I was looking. I was looking everywhere saying a whole lot of stuff.
Well, Mike, thanks for doing this. It was really a lot of fun, and a tip of the cap to everybody else on this screen too. As somebody, as I said earlier, loves the university, all of you are a great credit to SU. And stay healthy and safe, everyone.
Same to you, Sean. Same to you.
Thank you to all of you. This was so much fun. It was a pleasure. You guys are all great leaders and examples from your university. You can tell you love the program and you love the school. So thanks for playing along here. I had a ball.
Absolutely. Appreciate you
Yeah,
guys.
this is great. Yeah.
See you
Thank
all.
you. Be safe.